Hey guys, this is Mrs. Krouse, and this video is about our Unit 8 Lesson 2 notes, which are on blood types and sex-linked traits. I'm actually going to split this up into two videos. This first one is on blood types, and the second one will be on sex-linked traits. All right, let's get started. So, blood types is an example of an inheritance pattern that involves multiple alleles. All the examples of traits we've looked at so far have only had two alleles for each trait. In the case of blood types, there's more than two alleles for that trait. In fact, there's three. Now, if you were to be given a problem involving multiple alleles on a quiz or test, I would have to tell you what the alleles are and how they interact with each other. So is one of them dominant over the others? Do any of them display codominance or incomplete dominance? So I'd have to give you some information. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, the blood types are controlled by multiple alleles. We can actually have four different blood types or phenotypes: A, B, AB, and O. And these blood types are going to be shown in the form of little molecules called antigens that are found on the surface of red blood cells. We've got two types of antigens involved in the ABO blood group system. We've got the type A antigens, which are shown here as little green triangles on sticks. And we've got the type B antigens, which are shown as little orange pentagons on sticks. Okay. If you have type A blood, you're going to show antigen A, the little green triangles, on the surface of your red blood cells. And if you have blood type B, you're going to show antigen B molecules on the surface of your red blood cells. If you have blood type AB, you're actually going to show some antigen A's, the little green triangles, and some antigen B's, the little orange pentagons. And if you have blood type O, you're not going to show either antigen A or antigen B. Okay. Now, in terms of how the blood type alleles interact with each other, the O allele is going to be recessive to both the A and the B alleles. So if you've got the genotype AO, because we each have two copies of each gene, you're going to show type A blood. Also, if you have the genotype BO, you're going to show type B blood, because again, A and B are both dominant to O. Only when you have the genotype OO are you going to actually show type O blood. Okay. Now, how do the A and B alleles interact with each other? They are codominant to each other. And so if you get one of each allele, you have the genotype AB, you're going to show both alleles clearly in their pure form. So we saw this here. If you have genotype AB, you have blood type AB, and you're going to show some A antigens and some B antigens separately from each other on the surface of the red blood cell. Now, sometimes scientists use different allele abbreviations to represent the relationships between the A, B, and O alleles. Sometimes they use the lowercase I to represent the O allele, and that shows that it's recessive to both A and B because we give both the A and B alleles a capital I, which shows that they're dominant to O. Now, we also give them a superscript capital letter each. So this would be the A allele, okay, and this would be the B allele. And because they're both capital, it indicates that they are codominant to each other. Now, for us, it's going to be easier to just use the letters A, B, and O to represent the alleles, but if you take IB Bio, we will use these I alleles instead. Okay. So here are the possible genotypes that you could have for blood type and the possible phenotypes. So if you have genotype AA or AO, you're going to show blood type A, since A is dominant to O. If you have the genotype BB or BO, you're going to show blood type B, because again, B is dominant to O. If you have an A allele and a B allele, you're going to show blood type AB. And if you have 2 copies of the recessive O allele, you're going to show blood type O. Okay, now, if we were doing a Punnett Square problem about blood types, if I told you someone was heterozygous for blood type A, that means that they have the genotype AO. That's because heterozygous means that you have 2 different alleles for a trait. Alternately, if I say someone is homozygous for blood type A, that means they have 2 A alleles, since homozygous means you have 2 of the same allele. Along those same lines, a person that has genotype BO, we would say they are heterozygous for blood type B, and someone who has blood type or genotype BB, we would say they're homozygous for blood type B. Okay, so let's set up a Punnett Square problem. Okay, so let's say we have a man who's heterozygous for blood type A. We know he has to have the genotype AO. And we also have a woman who's heterozygous for blood type B. So she has the genotype BO. So they marry and have children. We are going to make a Punnett Square for this situation and then predict the blood types of their offspring. Okay, so here's our Punnett Square. We set up the man who's AO up top and the woman who's BO on the left side of the Punnett Square. And we filled in all the possible genotypes of our offspring. So we find that 1 out of the 4, or 25%, are going to have blood type AB. 1 out of 4, or 25%, have the blood type B because they have the genotype BO. Okay. 1 out of 4, or 25%, have type A since they have the genotype AO. And then 1 out of 4, or 25%, have blood type O. So this is an example of a Punnett Square problem involving blood types. Okay. And that's it for this video. Stay tuned for our next video on sex-linked traits.